In that video, you saw the crowd cheering for the runner-up of the NCAA women's swim competition. Then you heard them booing when the winner was announced. The person who came in first place, the winner, is Lia Thomas. It's been a season unlike any of the last 4 seasons for Lia, who's been competing on behalf of the University of Pennsylvania. The previous 3 seasons, Lia competed as William Thomas, a man, but this last season competed as a woman. Thomas destroyed all competition during the first year swimming for the Penn's women's team, becoming the nation's most powerful female collegiate swimmer. So much more advanced than the women that in several instances, Lia will be resting at the end of the pool while waiting for the women competing to finally catch up and finish the race too. Just chilling there at the end of the pool. Lia literally dominated the competition. Although Lia has been performing at a very high level amongst the women, it was still very shocking when the transformed person became the first transgender to ever win the NCAA swimming championship. The 22-year-old from Austin, Texas, is at the center of a national debate about trans women competing with real women. During his last year of high school, he started to feel like something was wrong, thinking he was in the wrong body, and he was supposed to be a female. So in 2019, he decided to do something about it and began feminizing hormone therapy to transition from a man to a woman. You know, there are a lot of people out there who believe that men identifying as women should not be competing against women in sports.
If they can't make the varsity, sit there in the stands and cheer like everybody else does. And I don't mean going out there putting on a short skirt trying to switch their ass like they're girls either. Sit in the stands and quit trying to fake it. And I like the idea of what they're doing because it's going to cause a breakup between the feminists and the LGBTQIA plus whatever ever cult. Because 40 years ago, I remember the feminists were screeching about it wasn't fair for the boys to get scholarships to college just because they can play sports without the girls having an ample opportunity. So now they have it and the boys are taking over. And these little failed skirt wearers are going around with no shame. I think they need to be embarrassed and set in some stands. And
so you are against transgender being in women's sports?
Hell yes. That's just an embarrassment, and I think it is ridiculous.
Right, and I think
keep their lame ass somewhere where they don't do too much harm to the equation. Men and women evolved over 4 billion years. 3.5 billion anyway, and it was all about working together, the sexual reproduction game. And now we've got fools trying to break that up in one generation. It doesn't work. It's sickness, mental health issues.
And then you have some people that's advocating for Lia Thomas. They believe the results of the championship to be legitimate.
I find this train of thought that trans women are transitioning to compete in women's sports incredibly bizarre, because as someone who's gone through hormonal transition and is still doing so, and who has evidence, like personal, circumstantial, anecdotal evidence, that, you know, going through hormone replacement therapy has dramatically changed my strength levels, my power levels overall, do you genuinely, legitimately think that trans women are transitioning to win at women's sports? Especially given, you know, we are under such social pressure in society, being the target of a moral panic right now around our very existence. Who's going to go through the stress and the trauma of transitioning just to win at athletic competitions? Honestly, do you really think that's what's happening here? I'm curious. How do you explain that?
So the he right there that's transforming into a she is responding to the person who said Lia Thomas has gone from 462nd male to first woman, cheater. And her argument is all about why would a person go through the pain of transitioning and go through all this stuff just to be able to compete against women in sports and win. And honestly here, to me, the intention does not matter. It's about the result. The result is that this man followed the NCAA guidelines to transition to become a woman and compete against women in a sports competition. Obviously, it's wrong. It shouldn't be happening. It's not right. And I do believe that the women in sports, they should be voicing their concerns to the NCAA and refuse to compete against men. And then the person in the last clip said whenever a man is undergoing the treatment to become a woman, he's gonna lose his strength. So he's not as strong as he used to be. At the end of the day though, the weakest man can still beat the strongest woman. This is a prime example of that. When Leah Thomas was William Thomas, he was at 462, and then he transitioned to the other side and was number 1. He was still able to beat the best woman in the competition.
Leah, how did that performance measure up to your expectations coming into this meet tonight?
I didn't have a whole lot of expectations for this meet. I was just happy to be here trying to race and compete as best as I could.
You've undoubtedly been under the spotlight over the past few months. How have you been dealing with that and reasoning with everything?
I try to ignore it as much as I can. I try to focus on my swimming, what I need to do to get ready for my races, and just try to block out everything else.
What did that race mean to you?
It means the world to be here, be with 2 of my best friends and teammates, and be able to compete.
Thank you for stopping by.
I understand that Leah is trying to be Leah, but when I look at that person, I still see William. And even though William went through feminizing hormone therapy, the feminized version of William is still stronger than a biological woman. So I do understand why a lot of the women athletes are upset about that. However, I also want them to recognize that it's the women, the feminists, the ones before who said that anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you. Well, that type of strong woman energy, that equality that women wanted, this is how you get biological men competing against biological women. And of course, he's gonna dominate the women in the competition because he's a man. I mean, look at it. A man could be number 462 amongst the men, but be number 1 amongst the women. And it's not about bashing women. It's not about any of that. It's just the truth. It's not about feelings or opinions. It's biology. You even had Olympic gold medalist Bruce Jenner transform into Caitlyn Jenner, who admitted that this was unfair.
She was probably taking it very easy in the race because she knew the world was watching, and she's just going to go fast enough to be able to win the race. Now, I've said from the beginning, I have no problem with Leah Thomas. Leah Thomas has followed the rules, and she's able to swim because of that. My problem that I have here is with the NCAA, really going all the way up to the Olympic Committee, other organizations that have allowed this to happen. She's playing within the rules. What I've said from the beginning is the rules aren't tough enough. Just being on testosterone depressants for a year or 2, whatever the rules are right now, because they keep changing, obviously is not enough. Leah Thomas just dominated in the pool, and I'm sure she took it quite easily because she didn't want to win by too much.
At the end of the day, ladies, you have to be careful what you wish for. Most of the women with the liberal mindsets, who's always trying to be free and modern and do things differently, or the ones who say they don't believe in gender roles and men can do this and women can do that and we can all do the same thing. Well, this is an example of that. This is what you get. They're the ones who mostly champion these alternative lifestyles, but they didn't realize how it would really impact them. Just like women wanted to fight to go to work every day and be like men and everything, and now they're working and they want to go home. See, this is wrong, but I don't feel sorry for them. They need to go take this up with their mothers and the women before them who wanted to rebel against traditional values. They did this. Now let's go ahead and get the conversation started below in the comments. Since modern women are always talking about equality and getting rid of gender roles, should they also be able to complain about situations like this? Shout out to Tyrone W, JW, and Matthew. I appreciate all of you for your support. Want to see more content like this? You can support the channel too. Links to Cash App and PayPal are below. Ladies, fellas, want a balance analysis, want the truth from a woman's perspective? Then you're going to want to subscribe to this channel and don't forget to like and share.